But first, today was a critical point in the messy legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. After a full day in court, the two teams unable to reach a settlement. You can see them here leaving a New York City courthouse where they held a closed-door conference to figure out if their case can be resolved without going to trial. And Baldoni's lawyer saying afterwards that they were unsuccessful. Take a listen.
We were unsuccessful in reaching any kind of resolution.
Will we be back tomorrow?
We'll be back tomorrow on a different matter on the docket.
Are you hoping for settlement or trial?
We'll see.
But there's still a chance of settlement?
There's always a chance.
When will you resume settlement conversations?
I don't know that we will. We're done with us.
Ryan, do you think this will go to trial?
Thanks. I do. I'm looking forward to it.
Lively filed a complaint against Baldoni in late 2024, alleging sexual harassment on the set of It Ends With Us. She also claims he retaliated with a smear campaign. Baldoni later filed a countersuit, which was dismissed. His lawyers are asking a judge to throw out her case in what's called a summary judgment. The judge has not ruled on that request just yet. Joining us now is Cheyenne Roundtree with Rolling Stone and NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris. Okay, thank you both for being here. Let's just start with where we left off, Misty, with you. Summary judgment. What are we talking about here? And why does it seem like this just never, ever ends from the legal side of things?
So summary judgment is a really critical point of the case. That's when one side, and in this case, it's Baldoni, the defense, asked the judge to throw out the entire case, saying that after all the evidence is collected, after all of the witnesses have been deposed, after the plaintiff has been deposed, there's not enough evidence. It doesn't reach the legal standards to actually move forward to trial. Now, it's important to note that motion, Justin Baldoni and the other defendants made, that's still pending. And when you have a settlement conference like we saw today that's court ordered, one of the things that that magistrate judge will focus on is that there's still a chance that some of the claims that you're raising, Blake Lively, could actually be tossed out and you won't be able to pursue them at trial. So it's one of those things about controlling the outcome. But these are the typical procedural steps in a civil case, which seems like it's taking a long time. But this is actually on a pretty typical track for a case like this.
So, Cheyenne, you have been covering this for Rolling Stone for quite a while now, and you were in court today. This was the first time they were both in court, right? What did you see and hear?
Well, they were actually kept in separate rooms, which is pretty standard for this. So they had Justin's team in one room, Blake's team in one room, and they were kind of popping out. But it was a little bit tense. They were kept separated, and they went like 6 hours today with no settlement agreement.
I mean, is that surprising to you, Misty, that it's taken this long and there's still no agreement?
I wasn't surprised, to tell you the truth, in this case. This is kind of complicated. There's a lot of different parties. And to a certain extent, Blake Lively's claims exist. Justin Baldoni's that were a counterclaim against her have been dismissed. So the question is, this is a civil case. It's about money. Is there a dollar amount, or is this more about principle? Because even though the court can say, you guys have to get together, you have to discuss settlement, we're going to put you in a room so that we can potentially hash this out, talk about the good, bad, and the ugly of trial, it's ultimately up to the parties to make that agreement. Keep in mind, this is the court-mandated conference. It could always settle at any point leading up until trial.
Okay, let's look at some numbers, because one thing that has been interesting here is just the hit their public reputations image has taken for both of them. So this is data from Parrot Analytics that tracks public sentiment using social media mentions and video comments. Blake Lively had a positive sentiment of 81% in March of 2023. That's around the time the It Ends With Us cast was announced. Then by January of that year, she dropped to 10.6%. And then for Baldoni, he's dropped from a high of 62.5% in March of 2024 to 8.7%. Cheyenne, when you look at all of this, I mean, is that maybe something, when you talk to sources or people who are following this case, is that maybe a factor in why there hasn't been a resolution? Because when this ends, the numbers aren't great for them in terms of public personas, and they have public-facing jobs.
Yeah, I think reputation is what's at stake here. I mean, there's no dollar amount, I think, that could maybe settle this. But I think it goes back to before all this came out, is that Blake wanted Justin to take some accountability and issue a statement that acknowledged that she was professional on set and that there was issues on his part. So I think that might also have something to do with why there's no settlement.
Do you think that, like, I mean, can a judge be looking at this? I mean, does this play into stuff actually behind closed doors in the courtroom?
Definitely when it comes to these settlement discussions, what you're going to do is that magistrate judge, and as you said, they're separated into different rooms. The judge goes between the two rooms and talks to each party about the risks of moving forward. And in a case like this, where you do have reputation being a large component. You do have the public spectacle of it all when it comes to trial. That's definitely something that's going to be focused on. And keep in mind, the lawyers are litigating, they're raising the right arguments, but this is not being done in a vacuum. These are people that are in Hollywood. There's publicists involved. There's others who are weighing in on which direction this should go. But I would say we've gone a really long way here. There's other touch points. Blake Lively's her deposition is on the record. A lot of documents have been publicly exposed, unredacted, unsealed. So the question is, what more is there to risk actually sitting in that box and being on the record in testimony?
So, Cheyenne, where do things go from here? Are we going to see them back in court? Well, what happens? What's the next to-do list?
Seems like trial in May, mid-May. They're going to go and kind of be vindicated one side or the other by a jury.
When you think of the possibility of this trial, and I guess this is kind of a question of both of you, but does it play out, do you think, like what we saw with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, where at the end of it, regardless of what happens, they both have to deal with the aftermath, or does it manifest in some other way?
Well, I think you're going to get a jury who's going to ultimately make a decision on liability. Somebody could owe a significant amount of money, but everything that comes out in that trial, it's going to be very public. Keep in mind, though, this will not have cameras in the courtroom. This is a federal court, as opposed to that which cameras were capturing every moment.
All right, a lot to watch there. Cheyenne Roundtree, Misty Marris, thank you both. We appreciate it.